Welcome to online lectures by CA Studies. For more lectures online, please do visit castudies.lk.
Okay, central limit theorem. Now, here we talk about central limits when the population is not normally distributed. This happens when we select a sample. Because in a sample, as discussed previously, you can have standard errors. Why? Because the sample is not a proper distribution of data, right? However, using the central limit theorem, we can say sample mean the average of the sample can be normally distributed using some different formulas. That means the central limit theorem adjusts the previous formulas to get the sample mean that would get normally distributed. Example, think of a rolling dice. The outcome, the probability of having any one of the numbers is for you 1 over 6 because you can get one number out of 6 chances. And therefore, this is a uniform distribution and not normal because the outcome is equally likely. Which means if you consider the mean, if you calculate the mean, it will be the sum of all the values on the dice divided by the number of values, which is 3.5. As usual, you will calculate the mean. And if you look at this table, they did a sample of 10 where they threw the dice and checked at each throw 10 times. So the first sample was they threw the dice 10 times and they got these figures. First of all, they got number 2 on the dice. Then they got 5, next 2, next 6, next 4 and so on. The total of this divided by 10 items will give you a mean of 4.7. Likewise, they done the same for 10 samples. Now, they drew a chart for sample mean by putting the mean details in the horizontal axis, the frequency distribution on top, and they identified that the sample mean is approximately 3.6 based on the graph right here. And if you see this, the mean is kind of taking a bell shape, isn't it? See, isn't it? It's kind of a bell shape. It's like a normal distribution. That's why they say that the central limit theorem in a sample can make it a normal distribution. So the conclusion is, if you get a large sample size, the mean of the sample will mean that it will be equal to the mean of the total population because you're covering a larger sample size. However, you could have sampling error just like the standard mean error. Okay, but larger the sample size, lower the error. Now let's see how to calculate z-scores with sampling. In doing that, you should learn some new formulas, which is variance and standard deviation. Alright. So standard deviation has to be found first, then only you find the variance, because as you see here, standard deviation of the sample is equal to standard deviation of the population divided by the root of the sample size. And the square of the standard deviation of the population is what is symbolized here, and n is over here. So first of all, you can find only the standard deviation from the given information, and then you could move on to find the variance of the sample. Fine. So z-score with sampling, this is the formula a new formula you should remember, where mu is the population mean and x bar is the sample mean, because it's x bar not x. Standard deviation of the population divided by the sample size, that is basically you are dividing the difference between the population and sample mean by the standard deviation of the sample. Let's look at this example. Average salary in Sri Lanka is 9,000 with standard deviation of 1,500. Okay. If the sample of 50 people were asked what their salary was, what proportion would say it was more than 9,500? So they are asking the proportion of people who would say that their salary is more than 9,500. We know to find the proportion, we need the z-score, because z-score can help us find the proportion using the normal distribution table. In finding the z-score, we got to apply this formula because we are asking a sample. So in the exam, if they give the word sample and ask you the population of who will provide a particular answer, then you should use this formula for z-score, not the previous formula. Okay. First, we should find what each value stands for. So they found standard deviation of the population. Okay, that means of all the people, what is the standard deviation? Well, they have given it here. Standard deviation 1,500 of all the people in Sri Lanka. Then we straight away put it. Next, the number of sample size. They have given the sample size is 50 people. So, n is 50. So, root of 50 you have to take, and that will be equal to 7.07. Next, the mean of the population. No, they didn't give anything mean or the total value of the salaries, because usually we calculate mean as total of items divided by number of items. But they haven't given anything as such. They just mentioned average salary equal 9,000. Now, doesn't mean an average? It is a type of averages. We learned in chapter 8, averages can be mean or mode or median. Okay. So since mean is a type of average, we can consider the average salary of 9,000 rupees as the mean, which is this. Okay. Then X bar. X bar here is the sample mean. Now, the sample of people we selected is 50, but we don't know what the salary totals are of those 50 people, because now if we are to follow this mean formula, then we know the total of items is, we don't know that actually, but we do know the total number of items is 50 because we have a sample of 50 members. But we don't know the total number of items to find the mean. However, they have mentioned what proportion would say it was more than 9,500. Now, since they haven't given information about the mean and the number of total of items, and since they are talking the averages of all, they don't want to know the actual salary because each person, now A, person B, person C might have 10,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees and 9,000 rupees as their salary. But as a person collecting data, would you want to say, okay, A has 10,000, B has 15,000 or C has 9,000, or do you want to say that the average salary per person from this category ABC is 11,333. That is what you want to say, isn't it? You will not try to say individual values. That's the reason why they consider the sample mean to be 9,500. They considered 9,500 as the new average salary. And the question they are asking is, how many people will have an average salary of 9,500? That's why they mentioned the sample mean equals 9,500 rupees. Now, we found all the variable items. Substitute these numbers into the formula. X bar is 9,500 minus mean of the entire population, which is 9,000. Divide by standard deviation 1,500 divided by again 7.07, the root of the sample size. It gives us z-score of 2.36. Now the gap between the mean, now this is the gap between the, not the sample mean, but the actual mean. Okay, the gap between the actual mean, that means not actual in the sense this is the mean of the entire population. Because if you draw this, if you look at this diagram, let me redraw this. They say the mean of the entire population is 9,000 and they are asking how many would say it is 9,500 out of the sample. So which means this arena, right? So actually this gap is Z of 2.56. This is how you picture it. Therefore, that's the reason we can even use this normal distribution table. If it is the gap with the sample mean, can we use this normal distribution table? No, we cannot. Because if you look at the formula used for this table, it does not have the symbol of the sample mean. So, therefore, we could conclude that Z is still the gap between the mean and the new average. Okay, 2.36. So vertically I will look for 2.3. Yeah, because we got here only 2 decimal places and then 0.06 here, which leads us to 0.4909. So this gap will be 49.09 percentage. As you could see here, same thing they have drawn. So the shaded area is 49.09%, and so the area to the right of the shaded area will be the proportion whose salary is above 9,500. So the z-score we obtained here gives the representation for the score between the mean population mean and the sample mean. But they asked for greater than the sample mean. That means they asked for this section. More than 9,500. Now to find more than 9,500, we can't do anything because we need this one to find z. Then only we can find this area. But z, the mean and the new average is linked by the formula z-score equals x bar minus mu divided by standard deviation over the root of the sample size. Hence, we apply, so because of this formula, the sample becomes normally distributed, where both sides are equal. Okay, because now I told you all sample distributions are uniform distributions. They don't be equal. However, because of this central limit theory that made the new formula for z-score, we are able to make the sample into a normal distribution. And so 49.09% is the gap between the mean and the new average. Then how many people having salaries above 9,500 new average? Definitely, since these since the curve is symmetrical, both sides totally is 50% and this side entirely is 50%. Same logic. Therefore, 50% minus 49.09 will give this value. Okay. So, what will be the answer? 50% minus 49.09% will give us 9%. 0.9% of the population have average salary above 9,500. So it's very similar to what we did previously. Only the application of the sample mean and average or the population mean is where we have to be a bit careful. Other than that, everything went similar. Okay. Alright. So with that, we finish sampling related z-scores, and with that we complete the chapter of normal distribution. So see you all in the next video.
Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned with castudies.lk for more lectures online.